Did you just wake up one day and say, you know what, I think I'm going to just take on the teachers' unions in California, no less?
Doesn't that sound like a great idea?
Yeah.
Actually, it was God that brought me into this battle. I was sitting at the table in the morning doing my morning Bible study with Beth Moore, this particular study, and Beth asked a question. Is there something the Lord's been asking you to do and you have not obeyed him because, for whatever reason? I knew what it was. I was supposed to be writing for publication, and I was supposed to be exposing the teachers' unions because they were controlling our schools in a culture of fear, doing things harmful to children with my money. So I prayed on it for 3 solid days. The Lord led me to the widow's mite. That story where Jesus points out this widow and he says to his disciples, that widow just gave 2 mites, which is like 2 pennies.
Yeah.
And he said she gave more than all the wealthy because she gave in her faith. She gave in her nothingness. So what he said to my heart was, Rebecca, I'm just asking you to give your 2 mites. I'll do the rest. Newspapers are my problem. So I answered the question, Lord, I will give you my writing for your glory. So I started writing editorials, and within 6 months, I was lead plaintiff in a federal lawsuit suing the National Education Association and the California Teachers Association, whom I just wanted to expose in a story.
I think what's significant is that these teachers' unions were taking large amounts of money from the paychecks of teachers involuntarily.
That's right.
So teachers didn't have a choice. That money was confiscated out to be a part, not to help education, but to fund left-wing politics, to support abortion, to support things that you didn't believe in. Now, if people want to believe in them and they want to support those things, that they should have the freedom to do that.
That's right.
But you were not given the freedom. That was really the crux of what this was all about.
That's right. It's a First Amendment issue. We were forced to fund the demise of my Judeo-Christian virtues. They not only are supporting abortion, they're supporting every left, far left, divisive issue in this country. They are the ones marching for sanctuary cities and to abolish ICE. All kinds of things that are far out of the jurisdiction of a labor union.
Well, and what does that have to do with education and helping children? I guess that's what a lot of us are asking.
The only reason the schools in America are failing is teachers' unions, period. They are the ones fighting against school choice. They are the ones bringing in these horrific discipline policies where you cannot suspend children for willful defiance. And so teachers are now in crisis. Children are not learning. You know, it's not rocket science. If teachers and parents could just get back together and take care of the kids, and the teachers' unions would get the heck out, everybody would be fine.
You tell a story that I thought was very powerful. You were teaching in a classroom. Next to you was a teacher who was basically bullying kids.
That's right.
And when you called attention to it, it wasn't that that teacher got fired. You got reprimanded because how dare you try to get a teacher in trouble. The unions protected that teacher instead of protecting the child.
Exactly. That exact story happened when I was a student teacher. I was 22. It was 1987. I was terrified of that woman. And those children she was manhandling were 6 years old. They came up to her waist. It was disgusting. And my master teacher is the one who told me, it's the teachers' unions who defend these teachers and there's nothing we can do about it. I watched with my own eyes while that woman continued to teach and abuse children until she chose to retire. That was 100% the fault of teachers' unions, and I think that's wrong.
And I want to make clear to our audience what the teachers' union role is, because you know it sounds like, oh, the teachers' union did that. But the teachers' union, through its collective bargaining and through its tenure that it negotiates, means you can't touch that teacher, you can't fire that teacher, and even if they say the teacher can't teach, they still have to pay that teacher. New York has hundreds of people who are on their payroll who haven't been in the classroom in years. They go to what they call the rubber rooms, and they show up, and they sit in a room, and they get full pay, but they don't teach anymore, but they can't fire them.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
It's insane. And it's wasting all these taxpayer dollars that belong to children. so that we can educate children, bring in maybe some teachers' aides to help teachers like myself with struggling kids. And you know what's really shocking? Teachers think that they need the unions because the unions are going to protect them, give them liability insurance. But they protect these types of teachers that you're talking about. But I have watched personally as one of the best teachers I know paid her dues for 26 years. She was fired in 3 days over a false claim. And the teachers' unions told her, she said, "Where's my $1 million in liability coverage?" And they said, "Oh, we only cover you if you're sued. Oh, that'll be $100,000. If you have $100,000, we'll defend you." They did not defend her. One of the best teachers I know lost her job.
26 years of paying in and still didn't get anything.
Yep.
So you filed a case first against the California Teachers Association and then ultimately the NEA. This goes all the way to the Supreme Court, which in itself is just an amazing thing. You say a prayer, the next thing you know, 9 justices up there deciding the case. How did it go?
So oral arguments were amazing. Our case was heard on January 11th, 2016. Everyone, even the New York Times, admitted that we won. The teachers won. What were we suing for? An end to forced unionism. We just wanted teachers to be able to decide for ourselves without fear or coercion whether or not to fund these unions. And we knew we won. But then a tragedy occurred. 1 month after our case was heard, Justice Scalia tragically died. He had been our swing vote. We had convinced him. We all knew in the courtroom he was on our side. So we ended up getting a 4-4 tie. And you know, we actually filed for a rehearing. And the justices sort of led us on for about 8 weeks. We thought they were going to take it. They denied it on my birthday that year. And so we ultimately lost. But remember that widow's mite. The Lord said to me, and I don't hear voices, by the way, he just speaks to my heart. He just said, "Rebecca, keep giving your 2 mites." And so I started writing the book. I started interviewing teachers, and about 4 dozen different teachers share their stories of union abuse and expose the unions in this book. They all got brave because of our case. And another case came behind my case, a case called Janice. And I asked the Lord, this sounds so silly, but I literally asked the Lord, "Lord, could you please let Janice win on my birthday?" It was her, I really did. I mean, you know, he gives sweet gifts.
Yeah.
He really does. He adores us. And so the case was heard in February 2018. And I wrote in that book, in the last chapter, I wrote that Janice won on my birthday, even though he hadn't won in it or anything. And I told my publisher, if it doesn't happen, I'll change it before we go to print. But in faith, I wrote, and do you want to know the Janice case won on my birthday?
That's pretty amazing, Rebecca. You have freed up hundreds of thousands of teachers in this country by having the guts to go out there and fight Goliath. And that's what the book is about, standing up to Goliath. Let me say, if you care about your kids' education and you want to learn how to protect them and support good teachers, visit forkidsandcountry.org and also connect on Facebook and on Twitter at 4Kids and Country.